Hello and welcome to The Lion Show. I'm your host, your favorite business coach, Robert Lyon. Today I'm going to be giving you the straight scoop on what happened with Gamestop stocks. So be sure to stick around, subscribe, and hit that like button. So what happened is at the beginning of the year or even beginning of last year, GameStop stock was around $3. And there was a guy who basically said, YOLO, put $50,000 into GameStop. And then for a little while there, he had a few screenshots where he was negative $30,000. And then what had happened is because GameStop was the most shorted stock in like the S&P or whatever the hell it is, online, basically, it was one of the highest and most shorted stocks possible because all these hedge funds assumed that the business was essentially going to be going out, that GameStop was essentially going to be going out of business. But one guy decidedly said that he believes that because PS5s and Xbox Ones and stuff still have the discs capabilities, not just being able to download, that the discs and the opportunity that GameStop still had to sell video games online and in person and in shops is going to raise the value of the stock. That was the first good news. They got a new CEO, and then GameStop wound up making a new plan to work with Microsoft, and then they made a new plan to basically team up with other big old franchises to sell their products online. This was just the tip of the iceberg, but it was so shorted. Like nobody believed in GameStop except for a few people. And those few people essentially got together on Reddit. Not a few people, a lot of people got together on Reddit, and this guy basically told them that, look, the stock is so shorted that if all of these people would get together, buy the GameStop stock, and it would essentially go up, all the big hedge funds that have all their money in GameStop are going to have to buy back in so that they don't lose money. So essentially these hedge funds borrowed a shitload of money against GameStop. They borrowed all this money that they're eventually going to have to pay back because they assumed GameStop was going to go down. But instead of the stock going down, all these Reddit people and all these other people that were listening to this guy who, I won't say his name, basically they all jumped on board. They all said, YOLO, let's buy GameStop stock. They raised the price. Instead of it going down, all the hedge funds, instead of losing all their money, what they have to do is they have to buy back in to GameStop to make the price go up so that they can cover their bets on shorting the stock. Now, what's so interesting about this is it really pins the people versus hedge funds. This really pins the people that are wanting to invest or are learning about stocks, who never really know anything about stocks, but are on Reddit and are trying to figure this out, all putting in their money versus the big pockets of these hedge funds that are basically unable to get out of their short position, are losing money, can't sell their position because there's no more stocks for them to buy and there's no more stocks for them to get out. So the only way that they can really make any money is by having the stock go down, which is what happened today. Is the U.S. government or somebody basically called Robinhood. They called all these different other stock tradings and basically said, we have to freeze the ability to buy GameStop stock, which is absurd. My favorite quote of the day was, everybody wants to do Robinhood shit until Robinhood shit actually starts happening. And then they fucking back out and they quit and they don't let people buy the stock anymore. It's just completely ridiculous. But they're now investigating by the government exactly what happened and how this happened. But this is more or less just a fluke luck of what could happen if a bunch of people get together and they all try and buy one stock to drive the price up. The reason that this one worked, again, was because GameStop was so heavily shorted that the short people, in order to not lose money, would have to buy back into the stock and then sell the stock so that it would go down, but the stock kept going up. So they were losing their money. And every time that the GameStop stock went up, they were losing money that they were have to pay back, that they were also getting a loan on. So it just became this like perpetual motion of the stock raising in prices and them trying to short the stock and hoping that they make money on it going down. But it didn't go down because all of these bandwagon people hopped onto Reddit, bought the stock, and it kept going up until whatever happened today. And the crazy thing that is the guy that said YOLO on the GameStop stock put in $50,000, and now it's worth $22 million. And that is the win of the day for Reddit versus hedge funds and people buying GameStop stock. Again, none of this is very informative or a good idea, but it just goes to show you what happens when like the little guy stands up to the big pockets. And the fucked up part is that they just shut everything down. How are you going to make it so that the hedge funds lose money and they cry like a bunch of little bitches and they have to shut down the trading situation? That doesn't work. We need somebody who can actually stand up for the little guy, because when the little guy loses their money, we can't shut down the stock market. This is a once-in-a-lifetime unicorn or black swan thing that happened with GameStop stock. And I mean, of all stocks for it to happen to, it's pretty cool. They're also trying to do this with a few other stocks, AMC, Naked. Like, I don't know if it's going to work. This was kind of a perfect storm of things to have happen. So essentially, this one guy who's like a creative genius saw the potential for a stock that people loved, that was heavily shorted, that still was undervalued but could have potential in the future. And then he went all in on investing in that. Now, typically when you do that, it doesn't work. But this guy happened to also have a large following on a platform. And I mean, he basically took everybody with him, and everybody jumped on board because of, we'll say maybe because of the love of GameStop, or maybe just because everybody was on Reddit and just was drinking too much coffee that day. But this thing just kind of exploded, and it worked in the little guy's favor as opposed to the big hedge fund pockets. So I don't recommend buying in now. I don't recommend anything, actually. You're watching this at your own risk, but it was just such a fascinating thing to have happen. I felt like we had to talk about it. So please put your comments down below if you think that it's fair for hedge funds to be able to stop people from trading in the stock market when they lose money. Like that doesn't work. Now, the rare storm of having a mass amount of people all put their money into a stock that's going to go through the roof is interesting. And it's intense because never before have we, I mean, it's only been a little while anyways that we've all been able to put a message out and it be heard or read or listened to by millions of people just like that. But if we did do this and we all came together, this is just an example of the amazing things that we can do. But that has been my spiel, and it's just a very exciting thing. I'm excited to figure out what they're going to do. I don't think anything's going to come from investigating. I think what's going to happen is they're going to make it so you can't buy the stock anymore, which they did. And then I saw that GameStop is now suing Robinhood for halting people from being able to buy the stock. Because, I mean, why not? Why not make it a whole clusterfuck? There's really never going to be a real direct answer. They can't stop people from, making money or taking money or buying the stocks. It shows you the very tiny line of gray of what happens when people are shorting and what can happen when people come together and they buy a stock. So crazy stuff. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment. I'd love to talk to you guys about this. This is just kind of fun. Peace.